Imagine for a moment being a mother with 2 children, standing in your small, empty kitchen. The cupboards are bare. The little oil you have left is barely enough for one meal. And on top of that, a man is knocking at your door, not to help, but to demand payment for a debt your late husband left behind. If you cannot pay, he threatens to take your children away as slaves. This is the heartbreaking situation a widow found herself in during the days of the prophet Elisha. She was desperate, broken, and running out of hope. But in her darkest hour, she turned to the man of God for help, and through her faith, God performed a miracle that changed her life forever. The widow cried out to Elisha, "My husband who served you is dead, and now the creditors are coming to take my 2 sons as slaves." Elisha listened carefully and then asked her a very strange question. "What do you have in your house?" At first, she thought she had nothing. Then she remembered, "I have only a little jar of oil." That tiny jar seemed useless against her huge problem. But Elisha gave her instructions that sounded unusual. "Go to all your neighbors. Ask for as many empty jars as you can. Don't ask for just a few, collect a lot of them. Then go inside your house, shut the door with your sons, and start pouring oil into those jars." Can you imagine the widow's thoughts at that moment? She probably wondered, how can this little jar of oil fill all these containers? But instead of arguing, she obeyed. She and her sons borrowed jars from every neighbor. They closed the door. She picked up her small jar of oil and began to pour. And then, the miracle happened. As she poured, the oil kept flowing. One jar was filled. Then another. Then another. The oil did not stop. Her sons kept bringing jars, and the little jar of oil kept producing more. They filled jar after jar until finally, she cried out, "Bring me another." But her sons said, "There are no more jars left." At that exact moment, the oil stopped flowing. Not a drop more, not a drop less. The miracle was complete. Overwhelmed, the widow went back to Elisha and told him what had happened. Elisha said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on the rest." From one little jar of oil, God provided enough not only to cancel her debts but also to sustain her family's future. This story reminds us of some powerful lessons. God starts with what you have. The widow thought she had nothing, but that little jar was the key to her miracle. Don't underestimate the small things in your hands, God can multiply them. Faith requires obedience. She didn't argue, she followed Elisha's instructions step by step. Sometimes miracles are hidden behind simple acts of faith, and God's provision is unlimited. The oil only stopped when the jars ran out. God is not limited, it's often our faith, our expectations, or our preparations that limit what He can do in our lives. Maybe you feel like this widow today, overwhelmed, under pressure, and out of options. Maybe all you see is your little jar of oil. But let this story revive your faith. With God, little is more than enough. So, what's in your hand today? A talent, a small business, a skill, a prayer, even a mustard seed of faith. Place it in God's hands. Trust Him. Obey Him. And watch Him pour out blessings that will not only cover your needs but also overflow into your future. Because the God who multiplied the widow's oil is still the same God today, and He can do it for you. Thank you for watching. If this story has touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder that God's power is greater than their problems. And remember, when faith is poured out, miracles flow.